A lot of y'all women ask me different things about men, and they pretty much add up to you trying to get guys to do what you want them to do. I have no problem with that. Women ask me to show them how to get guys to do all kinds of things. And men get upset at me a lot of times like, Chazz, you giving up the game. They don't listen to me anyway. When I do this video, it's going to help about 1% of the people who watch it. The rest of them are just going to be entertained and have something that they can disagree with. They're not going to listen, so don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm going to get to the video. All right, I'm going to show you how to get a guy to do whatever you want. Number 1, find your spot. You've been dating for a while probably, or you have been living for a while. You probably have a pretty decent idea of who likes you and who doesn't. What type of dudes are feeling you? What type of dudes wouldn't pee on you if you were on fire? You got to start finding your spot. Finding the places in the world where people are attracted to you, where people like you. Get online, talk to people, meet new friends, get involved in groups. Start finding where you have kind of a niche. I tell guys this all the time. Dude, every girl's not going to like you. Every girl's not going to think you're attractive. But there are groups that do. So what you need to do is find that spot where you're going to have the most success. Once you do that, then the next part is going to be a whole lot easier. Number 2, stop judging. Now, most of y'all have been lost right here. Because I said stop judging, this is kind of your thing. Most of you like to judge, like to go, oh, well, he's a fuckboy because he won't give me whatever I want. Oh, well, he likes girls with big booties. That's a fuckboy. Why? Why does he like that? Anytime a guy doesn't do what you want, you start judging him. Anytime a guy says what he likes or what he wants to get from a relationship, you start judging the situation. If you stop judging the situation, you can start becoming more successful with men. Because if you stop judging and start listening and figuring out what people want, now it's going to be a lot easier for you to leverage that into what you want. You can't be a salesperson and judge the client or judge the customer. You can't be like, really? You want a minivan? Why would you want a minivan? I'm trying to sell you a Porsche and you want to buy a minivan? Lame. You're not going to sell anything. Customers are going to run away from you. And every time you deal with somebody, you're going to try to push them into what you want rather than using what they want as a means of getting what you want. See, you don't want to sell them a Porsche. You want to make Porsche money. So you don't need to judge them for wanting to buy a minivan. You just need to make Porsche money off of a minivan. So if the minivan costs a certain amount of money, I'm sure there are a bunch of accessories you could sell. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff you got that you could sell that will probably land you at Porsche money. And even if you don't get Porsche money from them, you can also get referrals that will land you Porsche money eventually. My point is, you may not get it in that one moment in time or off of that one situation or the way you thought you would get it, but ultimately you will get it. And that's because you didn't judge what the customer wanted because it didn't line up with what you wanted. You used what the customer wanted as an opportunity to get what you want. Now, a lot of y'all may not understand this analogy and how it connects because y'all don't realize that business and relationships are the exact same thing. The same dynamics exist. Unfortunately, mommy and daddy never taught you that. You didn't learn that in school, and it's usually something you got to learn through life. The reality is, you can't judge what people want. You can't judge what people do. You have to understand what they do, understand what they want, and use that to get what you want. That's how you become successful at anything. Judging someone else only leaves you bitter, angry, with a bunch of cute things to say on the internet, or a bunch of cute things to say when you talk to your little friends while you're in your little single group. But it doesn't get you any of the things that you actually want. Number 3, abundance mindset. Nobody is that important, okay? Some of y'all out here crying over a dude that y'all broke up with 5 years ago. I'll never find anyone like him. Oh, you can't think like that. If you think like that, how can you get someone else to do what you want them to do when you're in a situation where you feel like if they fell off or something happened between you and them, you'd never find someone else? You can't say anything at that point because you're not going to have the courage to do so. Some of y'all walk around making yourself feel better by saying, men ain't shit, these men ain't nothing, these men ain't loyal. All the different things you try to tell yourself to explain the fact that you're single or you haven't been able to find anybody. You got it in your mind that every dude is gay, every dude is a player. Oh, I got some statistics. Every man is gay. Stop it. How would they even have a statistic on that? That's got to be fake. What, you walked around and asked every dude in the world and they were like, yeah. No, stop it. The reality is you got to come from an abundance mindset. You got to believe that there are good men in the world. I talk to guys and they'll tell me, oh man, there ain't no good women out there. No women want to be in relationships. The first thing I do when I talk to a guy that says that is I look at them, if I'm on Skype or if I'm in the phone, I look at the phone and I say, stop it. Don't ever say that again. Get that crap out of your mind. That's cop out. That's loser mentality. I used to have a boxing coach when I was young who taught me one major thing, that most people will never win because they constantly program themselves to lose. They give themselves excuses to lose every day. Oh, well, the refs are cheating. Oh, man, my arm hurt. I don't know if I can do my push-ups. They always got something. And that's what people do. If you come from an abundance mindset, that means you can get anything. That's whether it's a job, that's whether it's money, that's whether it's health or whatever. There's plenty out there for everybody. People just aren't even trying to get it. It's like I was talking to a person that told me, you know, his son wanted to get in the NBA and he was like, well, it's a long shot. I was like, do you realize they don't have enough talent for the NBA? You probably don't know that, but if you do your research, there are not enough good players to go around. That's why a few good players get on the team and they just completely dominate. Golden State Warriors, you feel what I'm saying? There are not enough good players to go around. So if you operate at the top of your game, you don't have to worry about scarcity because it doesn't affect you. But if you're operating at the bottom, then yeah, everything affects you and now you got to come up with excuses. So you got to think from an abundance mindset. Keep your options. Regardless of what's going on, you don't just go, oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I just met you yesterday and you're so beautiful and wonderful. You know what? I'm just going to completely commit to you and hope for everything to go well. Nah, you got to keep people out there that you're talking to, dealing with, especially if someone's not giving you what you want. You can't sit here and just totally focus on somebody who's not doing what you want them to do, who's not doing the things that you need them to do, who's not lining it up to where they'll do what you want them to do. You have to keep your options open. A lot of y'all don't want to do that because you're like, oh, I don't want to play games. Really, it's I'm lazy and I don't want to put the effort in because it's hard enough to find one person, let alone multiple. But if you put that effort in, if you find somebody and then you find somebody else, rather than just stick it to the first person that seems to show interest, now you can get more out of each relationship because now you're picking from the person who's treating you the best and who's going to be willing to do whatever you want them to do. The reality is people do things because there's a certain amount of pressure on them because of options. I'm not saying you got to sleep with 20 people. I'm not saying you got to get in a relationship and then still keep cheating on the person. I'm saying if you keep your options open and say, look, I'm going to stay on point no matter what. I'm going to keep looking nice. I'm going to keep acting right. I'm going to keep myself in order. I'm going to keep my options open. And I'm going to let you know if you're not treating me right, there's no way I'm going to stick with somebody who's not treating me right. If you're like that, then people already know it's implied that your options are open. You know that somebody who's not going to put up with a bunch of bullcrap has their options open. Worry about actions and not titles. Some of y'all spend so much time chasing a wedding ring, chasing some type of thing where you could say, I'm married, I's married now, I's married. Y'all want to do that so bad that you put yourself in a position where any person you deal with can dangle that over your head and now they get you to do whatever they want you to do. Or you move on from one guy to another, accomplishing nothing. If you stop thinking about that and start thinking about the action, a person who has invested in you is going to be willing to make whatever step forward. A wedding ring really doesn't mean anything. A marriage doesn't really mean anything. I know you like, oh, yeah, it does. And then some of y'all try to go biblical with it. Okay, so they had this same system of marriage back then. No, they didn't. It wasn't because you got a wedding ring or you got a piece of paper with somebody's name on it. It's what everything meant. And if you don't use that concept, if you don't think about it like that, then you're going to constantly be chasing a wedding ring, chasing a title, and instead of getting what you want out of a relationship, you're going to keep giving and giving and giving to it so that you can finally get one of those things. If you start thinking in terms of action and saying, here's what I want, then you'll be able to get anything you want. If it's a wedding ring, if it's a honeymoon, if it's whatever the heck it might be. Whatever you want to get from the situation, you'll be able to get because they're constantly investing, and the more they invest, the more they have to lose.